I forget frequently. So be sure I'm recording. I think I'm recording, yes. Cool. That's, you know, I mean, I knew it was going to present some new challenges and some interesting, you know, it's just a different, it's a mashup basically of what we've been doing. So I think it's great. I think it's interesting.
This was, I wish Kels were here to speak to what you said, Emma, because this was actually kind of, after a small discussion between the three of us, an idea that ultimately, like, the genesis was with Kelsey, and she basically said the same thing that you said. It was like, well, okay, the frameworks are kind of a terra firma. You have to start from scratch, but everybody's work has been so good. What is it like to use the character rather than a situation as the framework? So it's cool to hear that that sort of translated.
I forgot. Yeah, that was, she was the one who had the initial idea, and we kind of batted it back and forth. But to Kelsey. All right. Unless anyone has anything else they want to bring up or discuss, let's get started. So number one is Farrell and Emma. Now, John, I'm curious on your opinion. Do we want to know whose storyline they followed ahead of time, or just surprise us?
I think surprise us. I think I want to know nothing going into each one, and then we can have a more in-depth discussion.
I agree. I agree. That's
Let's
what
just, and this is cool because we don't know the frameworks either. So everybody's kind of getting this for the first time. Gareth.
Can you change it to the mode where when we take our screens away, they disappear?
You mean to go on speaker mode, speaker view?
No, that's on your end. You can do that. I think if you go to view, like you're talking about, if you go to black, and if everybody else does that except for the two, yeah, that's on your end. I think you go to Zoom at the corner if you're using a Mac, and then preferences, and then one of those, video. Yeah, under video, and then hide non-video participants, which is the fourth option on my screen under meetings.
So is this procedurally different than just muting video sound?
Some computers perhaps default to this, but like we were realizing this, Brian Davis and I with the play reads, that some people don't have this setting checked. So if for anyone who has watched these in gallery view and the square stays small and you see a bunch of blank squares, if you go to the Zoom menu and you go to preferences, which should be one down, and then video, which should be one down from general, I see camera, that should be your computer. I wouldn't mess with anything else. But then under meetings, there's an option to hide non-video participants. And what that will do is when someone does not have their video active, they will no longer appear on the screen, which will mean that for gallery view, especially for these 3, 2, 1s, you'll just see the two videos of the people speaking.
Does anyone need instructions for if you're using an iPad? Is anyone using an iPad?
All right, so let's.
Everybody good?
What's that?
I said everybody good?
I think everybody's good, unless
Gareth, did you? Cool, sweet.
Okay. All right, so we're going to go away. We're going to watch Farrell and Emma, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
Farrell, I'm just trying to find you on my iPhone screen really fast. Okay. Okay, I see you. I see you. Okay. I will be right back. Okay, okay, I just put the shepherd's pie in the oven. So I hope I don't burn the house down, but you have my full attention now.
Oh, that is Aiden's favorite dish. Now, are you making it with Guinness Stout, Nadir?
Yes, and I did have a pint of it already. He did send me, you know, I I really want to make tonight special. So he sent me the recipe. But I don't know, especially because we couldn't be home for St. Patrick's Day. I know the banner is a little cliche, but I thought it was a festive touch.
Well, yes. So, you dear, do you have all the ingredients for the soda bread?
Mhm.
Okay, so you're going to be needing buttermilk and some eggs and butter and sugar and flour and baking soda and salt.
Yes, I have them all on the counter. And Aiden did send me a screenshot, as I mentioned. So I noticed that there was a lot of mixing between wet and dry ingredients.
Ah, yes. Now, cut in the cold butter, it needs to be cold, into the flour is really the key step, you know, because this guarantees, you know, some flaky texture.
Yes, and I did try your recipe a few weeks ago, and it was so good. I knew I had to put it on tonight's menu. I really did want to ask you, when and how long have you been cooking?
Oh dear. Oh, well, since I was, you know, a wee baby. Now, I am the only girl in a family of 8 children. So, you know, it was expected that I be the one helping mother in the kitchen. Oh, no. She was a wonderful baker and cook.
Well, why was it expected of you?
Well, what you see, now boys, you know, they have big appetites and they'd much prefer being outside roughhousing than inside helping us. But you know what? I always enjoyed making, you know, the big hearty meals. Oh, and this is what my mother taught me, that it was our special little gift to let everybody know that they're loved. So tonight, you're letting me Aiden know that he's loved.
I am. Did you ever feel like you had a choice?
A choice. Well, well, to be honest, you know, recently I have been feeling a bit, no, no, no choice. And, you know, I have been thinking that maybe, I don't know, maybe I should have done, you know, more things in my life. But don't get me wrong. I don't regret marrying my James and having my 2 beautiful boys. But, you know, that is all that I've done with my life. It's not very memorable now, is it? You know, I've never been very brave. Not like you.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you on that. I mean, I know we haven't known each other long, but I see so much of you in Aiden. And he has not been shy about telling me all of your accomplishments. I mean, your commitment to the church and winning the national brown bread baking competition. I mean,
Oh, well, you know, it was very exciting winning all that money. And well, it did help pay for his college.
sorry if any of these questions are too personal.
Oh, no, not at all, Chrissy.
Okay, well, Aiden and I play this one game all the time. If you could go anywhere or do anything right now, where would you go or what would you do?
Oh, well, no. Okay, let's see. Well, I do actually think it would be quite fun to be on the Great British Baking Show. Oh, but you know what? They don't accept anybody outside of the UK.
What?
Oh, well, I know. Anyway, that's just a bit of nonsense.
Okay, that is such a bummer because I feel like you would win Star Baker on Bread Week. I mean, the soda bread recipe is so good.
Thank you, but really, it's quite easy. Oh, you know, I'm happy to share with you my new biscuit recipe. Now, it's quite bold, if I do say so myself. Shall we make it when you both come to visit next weekend?
Yeah, I would love that. And maybe we can get Aiden to join us. Oh, what if we pretended we were contestants on the show?
Well then I'll make us some special aprons.
Perfect. And for the record, Mrs. Murphy, I think you're so brave. I mean, the house that you've built and the sons you've raised and the traditions you've created. I mean, I feel so inspired by you. And I'm so grateful to have met Aiden during my time studying abroad.
That is very sweet of you. You know, nobody's ever said that to me before. And as for my Aiden, you know, he just lights up when he talks about you. So we are very grateful to you too, my dear. Oh, now, with the soda bread, don't over knead it because you don't want it to be tough. Okay. Well, happy St. Patrick's Day. Enjoy your pie. And I am so looking forward to seeing you next weekend.
Me too. Thank you. Swan.
Well, Slán, my dear.
I will go on record as saying I absolutely love that. It was just delicious and wonderful and heartwarming. There really wasn't conflict in it. I keep thinking these two get along so well. What's it going to be like when she's been married to Aiden for about 8 or 10 years? But I loved it. It was beautiful. And it was also, I mean, the big thing for me, it's kind of an awakening, I think, Farrell, for your character, because she talks about how brave you are, which is a concept that doesn't even compute in your head, because you just did, as a person, you just did what was expected of you, and you did it, but you did it beautifully. It appears. So I just loved it. It was like I didn't want it to end. It was really a lovely. You know, it was clear, you know, when you're in the throes of a new, I know this because my son is engaged. My younger son, Joe, my older son, Nick, lives with just a lovely woman who we really care for. And there's a certain bond you get with the mate of your offspring when you get along and when you like each other. And this had all of that. I just wanted it to go on and on. I thought it was just lovely and smart. And it just felt like, also to me, it just felt like you were just riffing and kind of making it up. It didn't even feel like there was much of a script there. There is a script there, obviously, but you hid that and you circumvented that in a really nice way. Just loved it. Just thought it was beautiful. I'd like to see more of these characters, me personally. But I want to open it up to anyone else's thoughts on it. Denise, and then John.
Yeah, I just thought it was very warm and very sweet. So it was just so enjoyable to be with and, you know, be with these characters. So it was really lovely.
And the brave was for Una, right? Because Una was always the brave one too.
John.
So from a writing standpoint, Farrell, I'm assuming this takes place after the scene with Denise's character.
It does.
I was hoping that was going to be the answer, because I think I wrote nuance took to a new level. Like it just, to me, the accent was a little more lived in, but there were moments where you would expound something but then catch yourself. I mean, I really felt with both of you I was watching real people. I was listening and reacting. I wrote and circled it. About a third of the way in, I was like, okay, is there room for conflict? But I echo Michael's opinion. I don't necessarily think the exercise is to come up with the most conflict in the 3-2-1. I think you guys created fully realized characters. And I had this conversation with my mom not too long ago, where a parent or someone who feels they've lived a safe life goes, I don't think I've done anything. And it takes that. I found this very moving. And very grounded for what could have been quite frankly, on paper, like a Lifetime movie, it took on new significance in the hands of two really gifted actors. And it showcased, despite Carol, my God, that's my mother's name, Farrell. Whoops.
I am old enough.
No, despite you doing a dialect, this really shows off two core qualities, both Emma and Farrell, that you have, which is a groundedness and an innate likability and a sweetness that I think nice, likable people can learn to be unlikable and evil. I don't think you could go the other way. And I agree with Michael. It kind of warmed my heart. I have a feeling we probably should have done this scene last. As these nights tend to go, they get darker as we go on. This would have been a nice little like ice cream sundae at the end. Anyway, great job, y'all.
But to your point, John, well, it was my point originally, but you echoed it. We're wired to look for conflict. We just are, in any scene. And as actors, we're looking for the conflict and the friction. And this just didn't have any of that. And it was so refreshing. I mean, it had a story. It had an incredibly rich and lovely backstory. I feel like I knew who Aiden was just contextually through what you guys did, but I went, yeah, I don't need the conflict. It just was
Well,
lovely.
we did explore conflict.
And what was it?
He was going to be studying women's and gender inequalities or something, and then it was more of like a somewhat of a judgment and attack on Maeve's life, but then Emma was like, no, I just don't want to do that to her.
Well, in a weird way, go ahead, Emma.
Right. Sorry, yeah. We were starting to write that where I'm studying women's role in society and how like the new generation is trying to break the mold, and it then was we had like written like a lot of it, and then we kind of realized this is kind of me coming, like, how dare I come into a foreign country to learn something and then meet a guy and then interrogate the guy's mom and be like, don't you regret everything you've ever done? Like, it just didn't seem nice. So we switched it.
No, I think you made the right choice. I really do. I mean, yes, you could do that. That's a different scene.
Could you do that?
No, you could do that. But I mean, it was just beautiful. I just loved it. I found it so affirming. And maybe given the times we're in, we need that more than anything.
Well, I was going to say, I feel like it's a fantasy of benevolence. This is like our best selves of either a future or a bygone era. And I think it rings with anyone that's felt love and acceptance, it rings true. And it just feels foreign because of the haze that we've all been living in.
Yeah. Anybody else want to talk about this one? Anybody else?
Jorge.
I was just going to say, because interesting, just after you were talking about how you didn't want to go there as her being a studying gender role, studying gender. Couldn't that be an internal conflict then? Couldn't that be an internal conflict of setting the ego aside because you want to get along with this guy's mom? Wouldn't be that? I mean, first of all, I loved it. Thank you guys. In the beginning of this pandemic, one of the first things that I watched that I was binging was 4 Weddings and a Funeral on Amazon, which was just so lovely to watch, and this kind of brought me back to that. But in this idea of conflict, when we're telling stories, it doesn't just necessarily always need to be external conflict. It could be internal conflict, correct? I'm just posing that as a question to the group.
I think that's a great observation, Jorge. I also think on top of that, it's like there is something that if Emma's character was along in that path of studying gender issues and all that stuff, there's something really fantastic she could learn from Farrell's character of just being, right, of being of meeting her obligations as a wife and as a mother, And there's something very beautiful about that. I mean, if we were to take this out and do other scenes, that notion of there's great love and dignity in the life that Farrell has lived. And I go back to when you said she was brave. I just thought that was so, I mean, that sort of accomplishes what I've just suggested in a way. But yeah, but I take your point, Jorge. That's very smart. Love this. Do it again. No, I'm kidding. Anything else on this? All right, let's move on. We have Christine and Brian, yes?
Yes.
Yes. All right, we'll see you in a few minutes.
Welcome back, decency seekers. It is now time for our spotlight on indecency. In today's edition, we look into the insidious world of internet surveillance. And no, I'm not talking about sexual predators or skulking voyeurs, but rather the tireless work of multinational corporations to cultivate your personal information, using it to influence you to do their bidding. Solstice, a seemingly innocuous data aggregator, has come under recent fire after Anonymous leaked hundreds of documents and emails revealing ties to Russia and China, selling American citizens' personal information, which is likely used to spread propaganda and sway our elections with disinformation. In addition to that, it has been discovered that Solstice actively used their influence to suppress news stories of the Chinese genocide of the Muslim Uyghur population. As quoted in an email on the subject from Solstice CEO Wendy Milligan, she states, "In this ever-changing, ever-complicated world we live in, we have an ability and a duty to present the world how we choose it to be seen." I don't know about you, but that sends shivers down my spine. And luckily for us, we have the unprecedented privilege to speak to the Solstice CEO, Wendy Milligan, so she can defend her controversial Orwellian statements and explain why it seems that Solstice is so soulless. But before we do not forget to like and subscribe to us here at Decency Seekers, as well as all the other content brought to you by Easton Hill, your go-to platform for socially conscious content. Wendy, thank you for joining me.
Hello, Corbin. I am so happy to be here. Right off the bat, I can attest that we are not soulless. The people that I work with are some of the most committed and compassionate people that you'll ever meet. And we're dedicated to making the world a better place, not tearing it down.
Okay, well, these days, most of us are not oblivious to the risks we take by signing in to various accounts, be they social media, financial institutions, and so on. But I'm curious how you and a supposedly compassionate team can reconcile the intentional skewing of information to the world using individuals' personal information, especially at a time as charged and important as this is.
Well, I'd like to push back on a number of assertions that you've just made, if I may. In just 16 years since its founding, Solstice has grown exponentially, but our mission has always been centered around the ideals of connection, information, and reach. That was our mission 16 years ago when there were 11 employees, and that is our mission today as we surpass 50,000 employees. We are committed to this mission, and every step we've taken, even the shaky ones, have been in pursuit of this.
Okay, well, you may claim that that's your mission, but how exactly does that align with?
We have consistently been proactive in our attempts to maintain safety and security, prevent data breaches. In fact, we have an excellent track record throughout our history for data protection and theft prevention. We have advanced our usage of AI, which of course can't solve nor prevent everything, but we utilize it to really ensure.
Okay, let me just stop you right there, Wendy, and let's refocus your attention on the question that I asked, which has to do with the selling of user data to foreign adversaries for profit, and the intentional manipulation of said data to feed civilians the news stories and items you and your team of committed and compassionate army of employees deem worthy for our attention.
Well, as I'm sure you're intelligent enough to understand, Corbin, companies that lead the way in data aggregation like Solstice are in the business of collecting individuals' data in order to tailor and ease their online experiences across all areas: email, search engines, social connections, civic duties, etc. Companies like Google, for instance, then go on to use this gathered information in order to streamline and fashion a rich online experience for any given user that allows an ease of use, however extensive the user wishes that to be. We at Solstice, however, are not psychics, nor are we in the business of policing the ethics of those parties that purchase these data from us.
Okay, well, look, with all due respect, I mean, it seems like you're passing the buck there. I mean, surely a company with your influence should take responsibility for the actions and influence it produces. Your dealings with China, for example, are directly obscuring the facts in order to protect heinous acts of genocide, essentially making you complicit with genocide itself.
Well, as an institution that champions inclusion and global awareness, we are absolutely for extending our business to all neighboring nations and cultures. Is your position that we should not be doing business with China? I find that highly closed-minded and frankly xenophobic.
Okay, no, that's absolutely not what we're talking about.
I just find that surprising coming from someone who claims to be promoting open-mindedness and diversity.
I claim to be promoting accountability from nations who commit war crimes against marginalized, disenfranchised citizens.
Based on nationality, ethnic group, or political affiliation.
Okay, I promote upholding the Geneva Accords of human rights.
We value human rights above all else at Solstice.
Okay, do you condemn the actions of China against the Uyghur population?
You know, I think we're getting a little quagmired in an issue that has nothing to do with Solstice mission or our policy.
It has everything to do with your mission and your...
Well, Corbin, I know that people have these questions, and I think that these are the right questions. And the question is, what's the right answer? And I think that the right answer is to set up the right rules for the internet.
What?
It's a complex issue. And I understand your desire for simple answers, but what we do is provide for the technological needs of an ever-evolving global corporate landscape. If I can be frank, technology, like business, is a tool. Only those that don't understand this use it as a blunt instrument or fear the implications of wide-reaching services like we provide. I, unlike many, have done the work to put my money where my mouth is in regards to these issues. I was recently in Belgium. I'm regularly in the UK and just recently in France, meeting with President Macron to discuss the EU's General Data Protection Regulation. And before that, I was in DC meeting with folks from both sides of the aisle. In fact, both leftists and those on the right are aware that what we may find distasteful in other countries—
Whoa, let me stop you there. Distasteful? Oh, we're talking about widespread torture and mass deaths on a level
from engaging in business with foreign neighbors. In fact, if we disengage now at a time when China, Russia, and others have no intention of playing fair by our standards, we actually open a space for them to build and expand, leading them to continue gaining information from around the world, but we will have absolutely no say in how that information is disseminated, used, broadcast, and manipulated.
Okay, so just to be clear, you deny any wrongdoing, despite the emails.
Solstice unequivocally denies any and all allegations of wrongdoing, because it's the truth. In actuality, human rights and anyone who claims to be concerned with the upholding of said rights, as you so vehemently say you are, including the right to privacy, would be wise to understand that these relationships are perhaps the soundest investment we can make in the long run. Those that choose to wag their little fingers from behind a computer screen and then take their ball and go home, all the while mansplaining to us, social justice. Actually, it impedes the progress for human rights in the long term.
Okay, well, you and I will have to agree to disagree on this one.
I guess so.
Yeah, considering your emails imply that you and your company are knowingly choosing to bury the presence of crimes against humanity while making enormous profits doing so. Your ability to disconnect from reality, and your power to shield millions of others from reality is astounding. And quite frankly, it leaves me wondering how you can look at yourself each day in the mirror.
Well, I have to say that I'm a bit disturbed by the level of scrutiny that I've been under personally.
Oh, well, I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings.
I have no doubt that I would not be under this level of scrutiny if I were a man. Fortunately, I'm no stranger to the everyday sexism
Whoa.
of women in the corporate world.
Whoa, okay, that's okay. I think we just about had enough from you, Wendy.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Corbin. I really look forward to working with you.
I'm sorry?
Oh, well, haven't you heard? Oh, yes, at 9 o'clock this morning, Solstice has actually acquired Easton Hill and all of its content and assets.
You gotta be fucking kidding me.
So we are so looking forward to bringing more socially conscious content to the world. I certainly hope that you and I will be able to set aside our differences and work together on this. Don't you, Corbin? There's been enough division, don't you think?
Okay, we got to cut to a commercial break, Seekers. But I'd like to thank my guest, Wendy Milligan, CEO of Solstice, for joining us. Wendy, thank you.
Thank you, Corbin.
Well, looks like the company picnics just got a whole lot more fucked. All right, when we come back, we'll be reviewing the latest mishandlings of Trump administration's coronavirus response. See you in a few.
Wow. So close to the bone, baby. That was I'm not struggling with the response. First of all, I really liked it. I thought it was very smart and very obviously very topical and very current. And unlike the previous scene, nothing but conflict.
Yeah, you want conflict, baby? We got you conflict.
Yeah, it's on sale today. We're having a sale on conflict. Just a couple of things. Christine, your natural kind of likability, and you have just this sort of radiant smile and everything really works well for this horrible person, right? She's just a horror show. She's just, I mean, we are in the middle of it. I'm thinking, I see this all fucking day long when I watch the television. I see this, I hear this kind of this exchange of ideas, if you can call it that. And the only thing I would have liked, and this is a writing note, because I thought you both were wonderful. I would have liked the big surprise of you buying the company a little bit earlier, not a lot earlier, but a little bit earlier. And just I don't know where that would go, but it seems like it came kind of late, but it was just, no, it was great. It was lovely. It was, it was so, I'm struggling because it is literally where our heads are at today. It was so reflective of that. And I thought really skillfully done. I'm going to open this up for others. Reactions. Yeah, Yvette and then John.
I really liked watching this. As I was watching your guys' scene, I was comparing it to like the last talk show host that you did, and I noticed that in the last one, like Brian's character and the other character would always be bumping heads, but this one was like a speechless type of moment that took you by surprise, and it was just like constantly throwing them at you, and like the cherry on top was the last one with like, oh yeah, we bought your company, see you later. So I think you guys like really nailed that.
John.
Yeah, I mean, close to the bone. I felt like it was sawing at the bone, and that's a testament to the writing. I wrote down Sorkin. It felt like a nightmare version of Sorkin, the opposite of the West Wing, as it were. Time when we were proud. The framework and format were just 100% realized. This was such a smart choice to continue that character, and I don't necessarily think, based on the last scene, which was great, but I didn't see a future for that character in a way that reinvented the wheel, and like you guys pulled it off so well, and the aspects of gender and politeness and the way that each of you were forced to deal with the other one, and Christine specifically, the way that you were so dominant but never really had to raise your voice, and then even going so far as to claim that it was just really deftly handled. And I feel the most effective part of it was that each of you, there was a battle going on and you were trying to put the mirror on the other one. And I think, whether we like it or not, and correct me if I'm wrong, Christine, you kind of won that. Beyond, I mean, I was surprised that you guys went as far as the I bought your company thing, because even before that, I was like, oh, that you won. And that's kind of what we've been seeing. I'm really curious for you two to speak to the writing process and how that came about, because it feels, the writing itself, the text feels just so far elevated beyond a week of 3, 2, 1.
Good question. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll start. We were kind of deciding whether to. We thought about mashing our two characters together, but I had this image of Christine as this soulless corporate like person, like I said, like I told her, like Tilda Swinton from Michael Clayton. There's something I thought she could really do it, and then she immediately said, you know, I have a friend or someone she knows who works for Facebook who had to deal with a lot of this, so she had like experienced it. So I was like, oh, okay, then let's do that. And then so I was like, let me take a stab at it, and I started writing, and I was happy with what I wrote, but I knew there was like, I only have so much depth about my thoughts on this. And then like I remember I looked on the doc, and Christine had like written like another half of it, and it was fucking like so much brilliant jargon. So anyway, and then so I threw it over to her, and then I think we volleyed back and forth, just writing as much jargon as we had in our souls. That was my experience.
And jargon is the right word, because it is jargon. It's sort of conversation that is just populated by jargon. Mm-hmm. Christine, you were going to say something. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So I knew it's one of those stupid things, but I knew a guy who dated one of the higher ups at Facebook during the time that Zuckerberg was testifying and all of this stuff. So I've met her briefly, but I don't know her. But I remember then seeing her being kind of passed around for all of the press circuits. And she would do this thing where she just kind of like would squint and nod and kind of smile. And I was like, what is going on behind, you know?
Snake.
Yeah. And there was just this weird thing of like, and then when I was researching it, because I actually, and this is what I meant earlier by like, it flexed a different muscle for me, was I was like looking at my newspaper, like at Wall Street Journal articles and doing all of this stuff and kind of piling interviews together. And so I was like Sheryl Sandberg, who is the COO of, you know, and I was watching her and she was doing the same kinds of stuff. And I was like, oh my God. So I just sort of had fun with that, and then tried to make it sound like I knew what I was talking about with regards to tech, because it's like way over, but it was fun. It was like super, super engaging, and he kind of launched it. And then, like he said, we were just volleying back and forth, and it was great. It was great.
Cool.
On your end, Christine, were you reading some of the lines? Sorry.
Yeah.
Was it a choice to have, were those supposed to be prepared statements, or was that just?
That was just we
Christine, the answer is yes.
Yeah. From a technical standpoint, my only like technical note would be, and I think there's nothing wrong with reading. Trust me, I've done it for years, and I still have to do it. I find props to read off of, but bring those eye lines closer together, because there was a bit of a separation. Mm-hmm. And if you were to do it again, if the choice could be made that there were prepared remarks and you could take the lines then and then do more of the naturalistic stuff to him, it wouldn't be as obvious.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I hear you.
Yeah, but the writing was, who said Sorkin-esque? Was that you, John? Yeah, it did have that vibe to it. It was just really smart and fast and dense and really entertaining. I dug it. Anybody else on this one? Emma, was that you raising your hand or adjusting something? The second, okay. Anybody else? Anybody
But I
else?
can say that that was brilliant, and I literally found myself like I like was starting to take notes, and I'm like, I can't take notes because I have to listen to what you're saying because it was so complex and comprehensive. And so hats off on the writing. It
Well,
was a ride.
exactly. And you know, when we listen, because I have to sometimes just shut the news off because I'm a news junkie, but I can't take it anymore. And when you see people who are media figures, whether it's a host like the character that Brian played, or Christine's character, they have. It's not that they have a script, but you can't get them off. You can't change their minds. Just like in America, we can't change anyone's mind right now. So we have these two parallel tracks. They rarely intersect. And so from a standpoint of just, volleying back and forth between actors, it's so much fun, particularly when the writing is that sharp. I thought it was really cool. I really dug it. Anybody else? Yeah, Cameron.
I thought it was really smart. I really dug the progression of it and how airtight each of your characters were in terms of like we know exactly who they are, what they want, and what their aim is. The only thing I would have wanted maybe a little bit more of was like an opportunity for, because I took it in as very much like Brian's character, the person with the mission that was like very righteous and very like good for humanity, and Christine sort of like slowly taking that down, and we're realizing, oh shit, like she's got all the control. I would have loved for one moment where that moral high ground could have like flipped, where maybe Christine or like the CEO character would be like, well, actually, because of the data that we used and how we used it, we were able to subvert genocide in this country because we had access to this type of maybe not intelligence, but like the same software or the same information we used actually overthrew a despotic government or something. Like throw in one more layer of complexity where it's like, oh shit, now as an audience member, I'm wrestling a little bit more.
Yeah.
Who I think is right and who I think is wrong.
Yeah, interesting. Good note. I like that. Anybody else? All right, we're going to move on to Brian.
Wait, Gareth wants to say something.
Sorry,
What,
Gareth?
Gareth?
Assert
I
yourself, Gareth.
was just gonna say how much it reminded me of The Social Dilemma, and how I liked how informed it was, and that all these kind of tech companies are kind of putting on the space that they're like, oh well, we need to do this for the world and we're saving it, but there's all these kind of like nefarious things in the background that happens because of it. And yeah, and I like your characters because they are normal people, especially like Brian's character. You're like kind of talking to the audience, like, oh, the picnic, like, I don't know. You seem like normal people, and they're the people behind all of this bad stuff. So it just kind of makes it a little even scarier.
Interesting sidebar on The Social Dilemma. These friends of ours who are among the few executive producers, they are Silicon Valley, they sold their company for $1.5 billion. They're kind of very eccentric and interesting people. And they produced that movie. And when we spent an afternoon with them a week or so ago, they were never off their phones. They were never off their phones. And that's their movie. So crazy. Yeah, that's definitely of the moment, you guys. Really current and feels very, very fresh of the headlines. Anyone else on this? Okay, I'm going to move on to Brian Davis and Denise. We'll cut out and see in a few.
let's start over. Hey, Lori. Thanks for taking my call. It's been a while, huh? You look good. How are things?
Well, thanks. Things are going pretty well now. I think we both look a lot better than, last time we saw each other, right?
Yeah. The Uncle Nate's funeral, that was a rough time.
Yeah, it was. Do you still have the farmhouse?
Yep, I'm still here. It's home. I'm not going anywhere. Actually, Nate is why I wanted to talk to you. I was going through a closet upstairs and I came across something that he left for you. I don't know why I never came across it before.
Oh, really? What?
That Spiro Agnew watch you always got such a kick out of.
Oh my God, I can't believe it.
Yeah, the face is a little scuffed and I don't think it runs anymore, but if you want, I can send it to you. Maybe you can fix it.
Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
Oh, and there was a note addressed to you along with it. Do you want me to read it or just send it along?
No, just send it along.
Sure. You still at the same place? ComAv 02134?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I'll send it right out.
Thanks for showing that to me and in advance sending it. That it kind of has made my day. Thank you. Well, thanks for calling then. I mean, it was nice to kind of, see you.
Actually, there's something else. Also.
There's something about Nate?
No. So here's the thing. It looks like I may be a father.
What?
Yeah. This kid, well, she's not a kid. She's in her 20s now. Anyway, she contacted me, and apparently back when I was living in Chicago before you and I met, I got the girl I was seeing pregnant, her mom, and I never knew about it because I moved back home.
Uh-huh.
I went back and forth on whether or not I should tell you about this.
Well, how long have you known? I mean, are you even sure?
Yeah, well, it's been a couple months. It was a couple months ago out of the blue. She said we were connected on ancestry.com, and I don't have any reason not to believe her.
Yeah, but I mean, ancestry.com. I mean, how accurate is that even? I mean, what are you trying to do? Are you like trying to replace Lisa? I mean, wait, what are you trying to do to me? You calling with what, a bogus watch thing because you want me to know that you're a father now? How fucked up is that? I mean, what is this? This is just not right. This is not.
No, no, the watch thing is real. I really did just find it. I swear. Maybe I shouldn't have told you. I was afraid you'd react like this.
Well, react like what? React like this? React. I mean, like, what did you expect? I mean, look, you are just so, removed. Jesus. You haven't changed. Then now this is all the same.
You're right. It's a lot. I should have eased into it. I should have given you a heads up ahead of time that it was going to be something that might be upsetting to you, stirring up all our old stuff and everything. I'm sorry. I'm an idiot.
Oh, Jesus. Old stuff? Old stuff? A stillbirth is not old stuff. Jesus, Glenn. Why did you call? I was doing so well.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean. Look, here's the thing. I think I want to get to know her. And I'm not going to be her dad. She's not going to replace Lisa. God, of course not. When I found Nate's watch and note to you, it was like the universe was telling me to tell you about this. And you know what? I think I just figured it out. I think just this instant, I found out why I want to tell you this. It's because how do I put this? I want your blessing to do this, to know her.
I can't believe you're asking for my blessing. my blessing for your what? Your happiness? You grabbing the parental brass ring? You couldn't even go with me to pick out the urn. Do you remember that, Glenn? Now you want my blessing. Oh, man. Okay. I can't do this. I can't ever talk to you again. I thought that at some point in time, I could kind of get through it all and maybe we could, see each other from time to time, but just keep the watch. I don't want it. Yeah. I'm done.
Wow, that was very powerful. Where is Denise? She's gone away. There she is. That was so interesting. I was having, and this may be just me because sometimes I'm a little dense. At first I thought you were the mother of the character that Emma played.
Oh.
But
no.
Well, that's kind of where the river was flowing for me. But then I realized, oh no, who's Nate, by the way?
Nate, that was just backstory from the previous one. He had the farmhouse and I moved back into it.
Okay, got it.
He was my uncle.
That was incredibly powerful, and Denise, I that both of you just calibrated it in a really skillful, kind of profound way, as far as just you took us to a very, very interesting place rather quickly and skillfully, I thought. Describe to me, one of you or either of you, just the nature of the relationship between the two characters, if you would.
Well, Denise wrote to me before I even knew that we were connected on this scene and said, I have an idea to use your character. And it was great. And we never even thought about anything else. And it all, for me, came out of, there was one line in the previous scene that I had built a bunch of backstory into. It's a kind of a throwaway line. And I never told Emma the stuff that I had thought about for that line. And so we sat around and talked about the backstory that I had created for the character. There's a line in the previous scene where I say, yeah, I was married for a while. It didn't work out. No kids.
Right.
That's what I said. And I had decided that, well, I wasn't really telling very much of that story. When I said that line, I was, shunting it aside to avoid talking about it.
Yes.
But in fact, we had lost a child and we didn't get past it. That's what the story was.
That's great.
And
That's
so it came from that.
really, really strong. I mean, the storytelling, I say I went down the wrong road thinking, Denise, you were somebody else, but I quickly got back on it. How did you work on it? It felt so raw from both of you. It felt so on the just like the right on top of your skin. Just tell me how you worked on it. I mean, the writing was very, very strong and the acting very strong. Tell me what your process was.
We talked about the story and kind of plotted it out how long ago everything had happened.
Mm-hmm.
And once we kind of figured out a framework, we just started writing. We shared a Google Doc and I wrote a line and she wrote her response and I wrote my response to that. And then it got to a point where we're like, well, how's this going to end? And we both kind of came to the idea at the same time that she was going to hang up on me.
Yeah, that felt, excuse me, that felt very organic and right that happened that way. Also for me, pardon me.
It's just how I think I remember
it. There are these defining events in people's relationships and psychologies. The fact that you weren't able to go and help her pick out the urn, which probably happened decades ago, I mean, to me, that's the title of the whole fucking scene. I loved it. I thought it was very, very powerful and beautiful work from both of you. But I want to open it up and see what others' observations. Yeah, Brian.
I thought that was so, yeah, I agree with Michael. So raw's the word. And I love Denise. I mean, when you started kind of having a breakdown, what I took from it, I don't know if this was intentional or maybe people got different something, but what I got from it was that you were a character who was in so much pain, justifiably so perhaps, but also who deals with their pain in a toxic way. And just watching Brian, you just having to like breathe and try to get through this conversation in a way that would get, where you wanted the conversation to go. I just thought was really brilliant. I thought there were like shades of August Osage County there. And that I just thought, I really felt it. I really felt what you guys were going through. And I thought it was really amazing.
Thank you. John.
I echo Brian's statement, and I'll go a step further and say that Brian Davis, you have such a gift of you make everything sound as though you're thinking of it and it's natural. And Denise, you have such a gift of being able to be so broad, and you reined it into a place where it was like you took that gift and put it in this laser beam focus. And once again, with this character, Brian Davis, I didn't know where this was going from the start. It starts so mundane, and when it got to a place, it's almost like this is the shadow world of the other scene, where it's not a happy ending. Right. And so the writing was beautiful, but this to me is the gold standard of when preparation meets depth. Depth is the writing, which is to be commended. You both achieved beautiful writing, but the preparation and the navigation of where it changes, where it goes, where those beats are, and then being able to play within those boundaries, it creates something that is like dynamic and unexpected. And Brian Davis, I know I mean, but you play yourself like Yo-Yo Ma plays the cello. It's incredible because this guy is so taciturn. He's just so neutral, and yet the change of when the news is not received well, it might as well be a completely different scene, just with what you do with so little. And then Denise, I've seen you through the play readings be over the top, hysterical, ridiculous, hysterical to the point of like, I'm struggling to keep my shit together. It's so cool to see you just drop in and focus, and you got it. You got it was like each of you were sparring, and I wanted to hear more of what the other was going to say. I'm just going on and rambling at this point, but I really like this, and I think this was a kind of unexpected but expert continuation of last week and of that character.
And to your point, John, also, if I can add, Brian you do have this covert, taciturn approach, which is always, it seems to suit everything you play, which is the mark of a very, very skilled actor. But Denise, you have, and I've noticed this before, you have this emotional immediacy. You can immediately summon something extremely deep and profound, and you give yourself the time to do that. I mean, I saw it happen right before you got into the moment about the urn. So there's some sort of triggering event in the script or in your process, but the mixture of sandpaper and silk, the mixture of oil and water in that, the two very different sort of approaches and just natural predilections was just delicious. It was just great. I mean, really deep, profound work, and I just loved it. I thought it was very moving and very just very different. I would echo John's point about really interesting way to continue the meshing of those two stories. Very smart.
Real quick, I'll say technique based. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I agree, Michael. Yeah, I remember in person, and I was in Michael's class, and I had a Thursday class, but the hardest thing to do is the start oftentimes. And if you don't stick the start, it's hard to stick the landing. It's to be commended that you guys had a little technical snafu, which, like, come on, who hasn't on Zoom? I can't believe how quickly y'all reset and how seamless it was going into it. That is technique and that is professionalism, but that needs to be noted that you guys had the courage to go, let's start again, because there's no point in trying to power through something that's not perfect. So that to me bears pointing out.
Yes. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes, Emma.
Wow. I wrote jaw dropped when I realized what scene you were doing. This is I still feel really affected by it now. And there was just something about Denise. I mean, you were so grounded. And when you said that he had made your day from giving you the watch and then go to the reveal, and I wrote down, what are you trying to do to me? Because that felt it. The way to describe it, it's like, to go what Brian said in the way that you maybe cope with these things in a semi-toxic way, but that was just like, sorry, it's a video game in the background, but I kind of struggle for words because it really, your performance, Denise, it was so beautiful and it was so open, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional about it, but it was so profound to me, and thank you both for sharing that. I'm gonna go on mute now, but thank you.
You're getting emotional about it because that's the appropriate reaction, frankly. Yeah, it's just great. Anyone else want to chime in on this? Yeah, Anthony.
Yeah, I mean, ditto to everything that's been said, and I think what a what a smart way as actors and writers and creators to set yourself up with the circumstance of giving someone something that you know has historical value between you two, only to drop something later that is so
Yes.
significant. It's just the perfect setup. It's almost like when you're smart enough to do something like that, like what, not that you guys did not do work, but I'm saying what work do you have to do when the work is already structured for you in such a fantastic way? It's like you just get to ride that wave. I mean, it was so good.
And that's what people do. Exactly the way you pointed that out is what people, we do things like that, and sometimes we don't even know we're doing that. It's pathological. It's a pathological kind of behavior, whether he even knows that's what he's planning or it just comes out a certain way. And then what we got from this was an entire history of a relationship in about 3 minutes. And part of that is that pathology and Denise's reaction to, oh, right, I forgot about you, and I forgot about what you do to me, and I forgot about how I react to it. So it was very skillful and really moving. Emma, have you recovered? You okay?
Yes, how ironic that my
Loved it. Anybody
screen
else on
disappeared saying
this?
that.
Can't hear you.
I just want to say thank you so much for all the comments and for the lovely reception. And it was just very enjoyable and very easy working with Brian. And I think we were just like on the same wavelength. And yeah.
It is.
Farrell had her hand raised.
Oh, Farrell, yes.
So ditto for everybody, but there were two moments that really hit me hard. And it's Denise, when your character said, and I thought I was doing so good and so well, right? Because grief is deep within us, but when it comes, it just rips us apart. And Brian, when you took the pause and the weight of being able to, trying to say, okay, I have to reveal something. I have to let you know, I may be a father, was just volumes. And then, so my question is, will you be sending her the watch and letter anyway? And if not, will you be reading the letter? Because I thought the end of the scene was going to be you opening the letter and reading it.
That never even occurred to me.
Great question.
That would have been good. If I don't know. I think I probably, I don't know.
Well, I was so invested that I was like anticipating, right? Because it just reveals so much more. So maybe there's
That's brilliant. Thank you.
Well, and I have a note for myself here. When you brought up the letter, I was wondering whether you had already read it.
No, I hadn't.
But I know, but I mean,
Right.
the fact that
Sure.
occurred to me sort of emphasizes the ambiguity of the character's intentions and all that. Yeah, great comments, by the way. And just
I mean, I think I wanted her to let me read it because I don't know what, there's something weird in the past between the two of them, but I don't know what exactly.
Right.
So I kind of want to read it. So maybe I would have. If she doesn't want me to send it to her, well then hell, I'm going to read it.
He was on my side about everything.
Oh, okay. Bastard.
Yeah, this is something. I mean, if you guys, I don't know if you want to take this one further, but I just thought it's very rich stuff. Anybody else before we move on? All right, moving on to Anthony and Jorge.
David, what?
What?
That was fucking incredible.
I mean, I just making a point.
You were so fucking solid, and it all made sense.
It always makes sense. It's just that the radical left's decided they're on the right side of every issue.
Yeah, I mean, just like this fucking channel, and then you come on and it's like, yo, liberal Jesus, take a seat. I mean, fuck.
Sure, for the part that was an actual discussion.
Yeah, but whatever. I mean, he basically ended up looking like a prick, because he is.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's been known, so.
Well, not for his viewer base, which is pretty much every lefty who's on the right side of it all. You know, they just want to be spoon-fed what they already believe. I mean, at least anybody now with a critical thinking bone in their body will actually like see that he's not the be-all, end-all. You know, like there are better fucking pundits.
Right. So, wait a minute. So where do you fall into all this?
What do you mean?
Well, what you initially told me was that you knew that Smythe was looking for a member of the Sons of the Bald Eagle to speak on his show, but it doesn't sound like it's about that.
No, it's about that. I'm just saying that I think it's funny that he also got his ass handed to him.
How's your channel doing, Cal?
I mean, after this, probably a lot fucking better than Smite's.
All right. Listen, I don't know what game you guys are playing at, but I won't have some little millennial shit punking me so he can get more views.
Whoa, 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 whoa. What are you?
Dems are such hypocrites.
Wait, who said I was a fucking Democrat?
Your little fucking haircut did, all right? Don't even front, man. You guys are so quick to cancel anyone who isn't for the people. And when you're going on and on about opening up dialogue, you're stabbing your own party in the back.
I'm not stabbing anybody in the back. I'm just trying to get people the right information from a legitimate source.
No, you're being sneaky for the likes while you fuck with daddy's money. I wasn't born yesterday. I can play your fucking game.
Dude, I'm not.
Put me on your show. Put me on your show.
You mean my channel?
Channel, streaming, Netflix, whatever the fuck.
I mean...
Look, man, put me on your channel or I'll out your ass on Decency Seekers.
Oh, come on, dude.
How many viewers you got? Well, how many?
1,000.
Yeah, I don't think they'll mind.
I wasn't sure it was over for a second. Again, really smart political talk, uneasy alliances. What was the line that you knew he was a Dem because of his haircut? Love that. Made me laugh out fucking loud. I love this. This is also really, again, smart, contemporary. It feels like we're getting a little window into the backstage version of opinion media, let's say. What is the nature of their alliance, friendship, relationship?
I mean, I would say I don't think there's, in terms of politically, I don't think that they see eye to eye ultimately, but I think that Cal sees an opportunity to totally fuck over someone someone else who happens to be in his same political party and same view, and what, you know, who better to do it than someone like David, Jorge's character. So yeah,
I feel like
I mean, I don't.
I was dragged into the middle of something that I wasn't completely aware of until until after the interview with Smythe and
Right.
on Decency Seekers.
There was this story I read about that insane woman who dates Donald Trump Jr., who used to be married to Gavin Newsom. You know who she
Oh,
is?
that's crazy.
Out of control,
Yeah.
just fucking. Kimberly Guilfoyle. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, John. That is it.
Ooh,
And
that's
somebody who knew her very well said this is what made me think of the idea you guys were exploring. Has absolutely no core principles. If she wherever the money is, wherever the eyeballs are, that's where she goes.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with ideology. It has to do with celebrity, money, fame, sex, all the things like that. And so this has a little bit of these the sort of uneasy alliances between people who are trying to attract eyeballs to their point of view, their show, their platform, whatever it is. Again, very smart, really clever. I just wasn't sure when it ended that it ended, but that could be me. But I want to open it up to others. Yes, John.
Real quick, and I'll make this really quick. Jorge, I love the continuation of this character, even though I don't like this character, but but what I really think that you've done successfully is he is not a villain because he has a true north. And the constant between the two scenes is that his true north, despite my personal disagreement with that character's ideology, he stands by it. He's actually the lightning rod for this ideology, and he can back it up with facts and opinions. And it was a neat sort of parallel in the scenes where you sort of disrupt these two characters. And in Tichnell's case, it was a character we know well, but the pundit and the far 1 degree. And then with Anthony, you did such a beautiful job at the start because I was like, this is a really interesting take. But then the turn with the Kimberly Guilfoyle was a great metaphor, Michael. But Jorge, your guy just kind of sticks to his guns. And I think the turn for me in the moment I actually got goosebumps was put me on your show.
Yes.
And it wasn't some kind of like Conor McGregor, like standoffish, overly macho bullshit. It was like, okay, and I think that's what's missing in the dialectic going on right now is that guy. That's who's gotten skipped over. That's why we are where we are. And it's just chillingly rendered. And then Anthony, you just, every week, man, you just blow me away. But I think from a technical standpoint, it was genius to start with the 30 seconds of just like your dude setting up the call and like seeing the insecurity and in your body. And then you go to him and suddenly you're just like playing right to this guy. It was just, that was a really inspired choice.
And to your point about put me on your show, which was clearly the big shift in the scene, it emphasizes the transactional nature of this kind of thing. It is all transactional. And a lot of the people who we think have principles and ideals it's all very fluid and malleable, right? Because they just want other things out of it. Yeah, I mean, I made a note and I forgot to mention, I did love the opening of you just setting up, and it was just odd and funny, and I didn't know where that was going, but I really dug it. Anyone else, please? Yes, Brian Tichnell. You're the third character in this scene, Tichnell.
I gotta say, I am so giddy about the Decency Seekers cinematic universe. I just love that you created a Mandark to Corbin's Dexter. You created an arch nemesis, and I'm very intrigued about what their relationship is. That's all I have to say. I just had so much fun. You guys threw in little like references to the whole everything we talked about. I thought it was terrific, and it was surprisingly delightful. Like hearing something that you've worked on and then it being taken over by someone else and then hearing it thrown back to you. That's all I have to say. Loved it.
Anybody else? I saw somebody's hand up.
I will say it bears a discussion, maybe not right now, but later once we get through all the scenes and everybody has their day in the sun. But this is the only scene, I think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, where both characters ended up splintering off and having their narratives continued. And that may change because we have two more. But it's worth talking about because, Titch, you said something interesting, which is the kind of shared universe of decency seekers. And I'm glad we're recording this. I'm glad we recorded the other one because even in the 3-2-1 format and class is messy and all that, but like it would be pretty cool to watch all these scenes in some kind of order. And I wonder if the order would dictate the way that we perceived it. But you four have sort of stumbled on something really, really cool.
Well, at this point, I think we can pronounce the new iteration of 3-2-1 a success because we have this cross-pollination between stories, and it's really interesting. And I would like to see some of that continue. We didn't know how this was going to work, and I credit Kelsey with the initial idea. It's great, really, really fun to watch. Anyone else on this or anything else before we move on? All right, cool. Moving on to Yvette and Gareth. Is that right? Is that who's next? Yes, Yvette and Gareth. See you soon.
Ready whenever you are.
Almost ready. I'm ready.
Okay. Do you want yours toasted? Do you want your bagel toasted? Wait, I can't hear you. Like, do you want your bagel toasted?
Sorry, I wasn't. Can we start over? I wasn't ready.
Do you want yours toasted?
Excuse me?
Do you want your bagel toasted? Any cream cheese, butter?
Oh, no, not toasted, but with some sun-dried tomato schmear, please.
And I'll have a cup of coffee with almond milk. Thank you. I saved us a spot right over there.
Sweet. Yeah. So, almond milk, huh?
Oh yeah, I'm just like all them LA girls. Actually, I'm not. I'm lactose intolerant.
I've only tried oat milk. I think it's kind of gross. Who would want like oatmeal tasting coffee?
What? No. You need to try this. Okay, this tastes completely different from oat milk. Here.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm serious. Here, try it. So, what do you think?
I don't know what's going on. I'm kind of having trouble grabbing it.
Don't be scared. Just take it.
Who are you again?
Kate. you gave me your email at the bagel shop, remember?
Oh yeah. But you never emailed me.
Yeah, I did. That's why we're here right now.
No, you didn't. I've been waiting for that email for like every day for the past month. Why didn't you email me?
I emailed you the day after the bagel shop. You told me about Dr. Berg and how he inspires you with in with the good and out with the bad.
That was Liz. Am I dreaming? Because I know for a fact that you didn't email me, and it really hurt me. Like, I bet you don't even know who my favorite musician is.
You told me this. It's Adele.
Wait, that's weird. My favorite movie?
Elf.
Where was I May 7th, 2000, 12 p.m.?
You told me that you and your family moved to New York for the first time from California. You guys got on the Staten Island ferry, and when you saw the Statue of Liberty for the first time, the person next to you asked you if you wanted a piece of gum.
Okay, get out of my head.
You're acting a little bit weird right now. Are you okay?
What do you mean? I know this is a dream, and I can act however I want. What are you, like my conscience or something? Do you have something to tell me? Hello? Because I think it's fucked up that you didn't email me back. Like, why? Like, it's not like I'm scary. We made a connection, and I just wanted to make a friend. Is it my beard? My style? My smile? What is it about me that you didn't want to be friends with? Because I'm a freaking awesome person, and you would be way better off being friends with me.
Ben, you're the one that's in control of this dream. I'm just a figment of your imagination. And like, I get it where you're coming from. Like, it's scary when we lose sight of who we truly are, but once we find the light, it's like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, you're right. I guess it doesn't have to do with my style or lack thereof. Just kidding. I like my Star Wars t-shirts. But it's hard not to have the answers. Like, I just want to know why she hasn't. But there could literally be a bajillion reasons why she never emailed me, and I shouldn't just look to the negative stuff about myself for the answer.
Honestly, the only thing we can control is ourselves. Like, with like the other people, like, why hasn't she emailed me back? We don't know. But then that's when you get to decide whether you want to keep looking backwards or moving forward.
You're right. I have to keep looking forward and be strong and confident in myself. And man, it feels good to be confident. Like, fuck you, Kate. I'm just saying that because it's a dream, and it feels really nice to let loose. I don't actually mean that. But it feels good to let loose and swear. You know what I mean? Like, fuck. Fuck. Fuck you!
Yes! Doesn't that feel great?
I feel so in control. Could I try tasting that coffee with almond milk again?
What? Round two? Oh my God. Are you trying to take this drink away from me now?
No, I just want to taste it.
Okay.
Oh, that tastes really good.
Right? I told you.
I could stay here forever. The drinks are delicious, and I can do what I want when I want.
What about Liz? She's waiting for you to text her back.
It's so scary out there, though.
You'll be fine. When you hit another bump in the road, just remember this.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Wait, do you smell that? Oh my God, someone's making bacon.
Oh, dream bacon. I bet that tastes insanely good.
Ben,
Whoa. Whoa.
Ben.
Was that a dream? Oh, fuck you, scary thoughts.
Ben, how much bacon do you want?
All of it.
Whoa, baby. That I wrote down cosmic. That was cosmic. Man, I didn't know. I had no idea where that was going for quite a while. Really weird and funny and strange, and I love the ending. How did you come up with this? And talk to me about that. Talk to all of us.
So like how I said earlier, we were both kind of confused with the layout.
Mhm.
But once we realized it, we were debating on which characters. And so I remember Gareth saying, he's like, what if we do it like a dream? And I was like, oh, no one has done that before. And so we thought we'd build off of like Gareth's character, because I asked him, I was like, what if we see like the other side of you where you finally get to like vocalize what you've always been feeling this time? And so that's how we did it.
It's a really big idea, frankly. It was really clever and took us on a very interesting trip. And I loved waking up to bacon, to real bacon. So funny. I want to just open this up and see what folks have to say about it. Yeah, Brian.
Yes, that was terrific. Right at the moment you couldn't grab the coffee cup, I was so excited, and like I just was like, oh, that's brilliant. And it is one of those like, why haven't we thought about more ideas like this? But and not only that, that's just so inventive, and like I wanted to see more kind of like mind-bendy stuff. Like I just wrote it, like it reminded me of Charlie Kaufman. It's very like mind-bendy, but also very sweet and romantic. And you know, reminded me of Legion on FX. But what was ended up being even more surprising is just like you play bashful so well. Like it is so sweet to see Gareth, your character, like get through these very simple roadblocks of his emotional life. And so while I thought I was going to go on an odyssey, and I did, and it was fun, what it ended up being like, you know, the creamy center was just Corbin being like, I mean, not Corbin, Gareth being like, I can talk to a girl. And it was poignant. So
Yeah.
That was great.
And that goes to, I think, a core quality of Gareth's too, which is you are, even in your current state of grooming, hilariously likable and even perhaps more cuddly than you were before. I'm going to open it up to anybody else, please. Yeah, Julia.
Yeah, that was just a really fun roller coaster ride. I couldn't stop laughing at the end, and I was really, at the beginning, I didn't know where I was going to go, and I was really intrigued because you could continue the character. And yeah, it was really fun to watch, and it kind of strangely, perfectly will set up my scene with Cameron. So you'll see.
Good. Anyone else? Yeah, this was, it's a very, we haven't done anything kind of otherworldly like this. This is very otherworldly and very different in that way. And so just for that reason alone, I think it's worth talking about and discussing. I just thought it was really inventive and to your point, Brian, also very sweet. Cameron, yes.
I just want to commend you guys for going for the dream sequence. It's one of my favorite types of like scenes to watch, and people are just so, I don't know if they're afraid of it or what have you, but like I love watching dream sequences, and you guys gave it your own take, and like there were these sensory elements that like kind of faded in and out, and I love the kind of amorphous, like the absurd moments and the like deeply human moments, and you guys did something with it that I haven't seen done with it, and I really, really enjoyed that. And like we need more people like envisioning a non-stereotypical dream sequence like that. It was really cool.
It's all thanks to Gareth, his idea with the dream sequence.
No, we wrote it together though. So.
Yeah. I was like the beginning, we were kind of debating whether to start off how we started or for him to start off like as sleeping, but I was like, that's gonna give it away.
Yeah.
And also like in dreams, we remember the middle part. So I kind of want it to be like that, and we nailed it.
You totally would have given it away if you had started that other way. No, that was the right choice for sure. Loved it. Anybody else? Anybody else? All right. Very interesting. All of these have been so good and so much fun. And now we are coming up to, God, we're really clipping along here. Coming up to Cameron and Julia. So we will see you guys in a minute. Cut away.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Let me just pull something. One sec.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready.
Okay.
Oh, hey, at last, you made it this time.
Hey, Ben. Nice to see you. It's been a minute. How are you?
Good, thanks. Wow, man, you're even prettier than I remember. God, I should have asked you out again sooner.
Oh, thank you. How's your week been?
It's well. Finishing up my residency at the hospital, small things.
That's right. That's right. Impressive. How are things down in pediatrics?
Pretty good, doing what we can. Looks like my face feels like sandpaper at the end of the day, but hey.
Oh yeah. Sorry you have to wear your mask much longer than me.
Just doing my job. Not all heroes wear capes.
You sure don't. So sorry it took a while for me to get back to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd wondered what happened to you when we scheduled the Zoom date, and then
Yeah. Funny story. I spelled your last name wrong in the email. And believe it or not, this other guy got the Zoom link that was meant for you. And he thought I was this other girl he was supposed to meet. And yeah, crazy. I don't even know how it happened. But we ended up chatting, and he was really interesting.
Not more interesting than me, I hope.
Well, you're definitely different.
Why did you agree to meet with me?
I don't know. I wanted to at least let you know what happened and apologize. Didn't want there to be any hard feelings since I've been working at the hospital.
Look, it doesn't matter. I wanted to see you. And are things with this other guy steady?
Maybe. I don't know if we're exclusive yet. Why?
Okay, because I have to admit, ever since I met you, ever since you've been coming to the hospital, I can't stop thinking about you. Yeah, there's something about you.
Oh, wow. I didn't think you were gonna say that.
I wanted to.
I'm glad you did.
Really?
Yeah, transparency is rare these days.
I agree. Tell me something about yourself, Liz. Apart from working in the hospital, what do you like to do?
Just been cramming my brain, studying for the PA exam.
Oh yeah, impressive. Hey, maybe you could be my assistant.
I'm really interested in working in pediatrics, actually.
Like me.
Yeah.
You know, I could help you study. I have a photographic memory.
You do not.
I do. I studied biology and law in undergrad.
Who are you, Mike Ross?
Shoots. Best show ever.
Right? Wasn't the same, though, after Jessica left.
Yeah, it got ruined when Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, left us for the royal family.
Well, to be fair, you'd quit your day job to be the Prince of Wales.
I would not. Okay, I would. Okay, no. I would if you were the princess. You've got the regal energy already, but still down to earth. It's really unique. You actually, you have the sexy and the cute thing going at the same time.
Look, I'm flattered by all your compliments, but to be honest, I don't know where this can go. I mean, I don't want to lead you on, and things with this other guy might be picking up.
Yeah, might be. You just said it. Forget that other guy. I want you. And hey, look, we're hitting it off so well. I mean, look, you don't really want that other guy.
Well, believe it or not,
No, you don't. You wouldn't be here if you did. You know, deep down, you're looking for something or someone different, interesting, not boring, someone who can give you everything.
Is that supposed to be you?
Yeah, but of course.
Yeah, I don't want to hurt this other guy's feelings.
You're not even exclusive yet.
I know,
on.
but
who is this other guy anyway? What is it? What is he?
He works at the bagel shop near the hospital. His name's Ben Farrell, with 2 L's.
Ben Farrell. I know that guy. Oh man, he's a little off.
Are you guys friends?
Oh God, no. He's the waiter that serves me my bagels and coffee in the morning. You can barely do that. The guy's a loser. He's no good for you.
Really?
Really? Him and you? I just don't see it.
I don't remember needing your evaluation, doctor.
Oh, come on. Just look at him. He's got the hairy goat look going on. Have you ever seen his chin? Yeah, neither have I. I mean, listen, guys like him, he's not going anywhere. That's for sure. Bottom line, he's an incompetent loser, lives with his mother, serves
Okay, that's
bagels for a
enough.
living.
Hey!
You're not the...
Hey, he is more of a man than you could ever be, hiding behind your white coat. Okay. You know, I'm glad we did this because you've made things so clear for me. You might look good on paper, but in real life, you're just an asshole. You know, you should write that on your name tag. Hi, my name is Asshole. The kids should at least know who's treating them.
Liz, you have to give me a second.
I'm not quitting my job.
You have no right.
No, I'm not quitting my job. So if you see me in the hospital, walk the other way. Do not speak to me.
You're going to take all that back. Fucking bagel guy.
Gareth will be known from this day forward as that fucking bagel guy.
That was good.
The interwoven quality of these scenes has been quite surprising. Love that. Thought that was great. I was a little unclear about their work relationship or how they knew each other. That clarified itself as it went along. Cameron, the character is, you know, it's kind of stereotypical for doctors to be thought of as being kind of arrogant and godlike. They see themselves as godlike sometimes, certainly not all. And I thought that was captured nicely. And the fact that he's, you know, he just can't imagine that the bagel guy would replace him. So the only thing I didn't quite, I would want to know more of, I would want to know more a little bit, Julia, of what it was about the bagel guy. I mean, I saw that when you did the scene with Gareth, but communicating that to, I mean, you do it in anger at the end of the scene, but communicating that to Cameron's character, maybe a little bit further up in the scene, but it was really clever, really nicely done. I just want to open it up to others. Yes, Gareth, you must speak because you are that fucking bagel guy.
I thought it was awesome. I was laughing a lot, but also because I haven't seen my chin in a long time either. But Cameron, I thought in the beginning that you were like super smooth. And aside to your acting that I haven't seen before, and I thought it worked really well. And Julia, I really liked when you became assertive at the end. I thought when you're like, if you see me in the hallway, I'll like go the other way. I thought it was very like clear, direct, and like just worked really well. And you like hold that power, so like use that more. Yeah, I laughed a lot. It was great. Thank you.
Cool. John.
Adored it. I also love the shared universe. I think, Julia, if it were harder for you to let him down, it would add a little bit to your character's arc, and it would take a little bit of what you spoke to about your arc, Cameron, of being a little stereotypical, because once I personally figured out that it was a continuation of that scene, I kind of went, okay, I know where this is going. That said, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed where it was going. But I wonder if the conflict could have manifested in a way, from a writing standpoint, not an acting standpoint, but from a writing standpoint, if it could have been more surprising, or if those sort of things could have been harder to achieve. That's all I would offer. Acting-wise, it was great. You were both listening and reacting, and you both continue a hot streak of that, which is just awesome progress.
That's a great note as far as making those things harder to achieve, which is building some further friction into the scene. But well said. I agree with that. Yes, Brian Tishnell.
Yeah, great scene, guys. Really enjoyed it. And I just wanted to add on to, the questions about the stereotypical character, put that aside. I did think, Cameron, that you wear that character really well. I don't know if I've seen you play that kind of guy. There was almost like there's like an insecurity to the character that like probably was cultivated when he was a kid, that shone through, that like explained to me why he was so extra douchey. Like, so I just thought it really sat on you really well. Just wanted to add that.
Yes, Yvette.
Cameron, you were so smooth and authentic in the beginning that I thought that it was that you guys were doing the scene from your framework, and I reacted as like my old character going like, oh, that's why he left me. But once Julia started talking, I was like, oh wait, no, just kidding, different framework. But you guys did it so well. Like, I was in for the ride. I even put for Julia, I was like, yes, put him in his place. Applaud.
Farrell, yes.
Just to add on to Yvette, my first thought, Cameron, of your character is like, oh, like the deep growl. Oh no, because it was just a little bit swarmy, right? But then, and I loved that Julia was like, come on, girl, don't buy it. Because, you kept laying on like the smooth charm. And I was like, don't buy it. So I was happy. I was happy for those two endings. I'm sorry I didn't like your character, Cameron, but that's actually a good thing in this scene.
Other thoughts, comments? Yes, Brian Davis.
Mine's a general overall thing about this whole project, from 2 weeks ago to tonight, and watching them interweave. It's like Shortcuts, the Altman movie, that interwove a whole bunch of Raymond Carver short stories into this one tapestry, where you get pieces of one character in one scene, and then you find out something deeper in another scene that informs what you remember from the other scene, and you're like, oh wow, that's what this has been like tonight.
I agree. It has surprised me because having never tried this before, we didn't know. We've certainly tried, obviously, the 3-2-1 format previously, but this new iteration of it, I didn't know what to expect, and I've been just kind of blown away at how that interweaving, as you describe it, is just been quite surprising and really kind of brilliant. Yes, John.
Well, I would just be curious to step back and to let, if there's space or time or energy for a dialogue to happen between the scene partners, both old 2 weeks ago and new this week, on your writing process. Did it change? Was it the same? Were you using, we talked about this a little bit, but was it Google Docs? Did someone have the idea? How did you settle upon which character to use? Because I do feel like an integral part of the 3-2-1 is obviously the writing, but we talk about the acting and the technical stuff. I think that tends to be more apropos to the audition self-tape aspects. And for this, there's a really critical element, which is everybody involved. You're making your own stuff. So people that go, oh, I'm not a writer, I can't write. I would argue that the best scenes that we've seen during this session have been the ones that were originally created, not the ones that were assigned, not the ones that came from some other project. So I would like to, personally, I know I talk a lot, but I just want to hear the scene partners. How did you create? I would love to hear a dialogue about the various people's process, because I would like to learn.
Farrell.
So with Emma, so when we first started talking, I did not want to do Maeve. And she came in going, oh yeah, you're gonna do Maeve. I want to know more about it. And I was like, really? Couldn't I like be your mom in the first thing? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay. And then we started writing it. We did do Google Docs. And then it was like, oh, it's actually kind of nice that, she gets a little validation. And Emma really just kind of took care of me through the process. Do you agree with that, Emma?
Yes, but yeah, I do. I really loved Maeve, and I felt like I really wanted, I mean, selfishly, I really just wanted more of her and I wanted to know more about her and also hopefully give her a place where she feels heard because that was a big part of the previous scene. And yeah, we were on the phone for hours writing it together. It was a blast.
Yes, Brian.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on to kind of more of the big picture of how what I've noticed about doing these is that one of the reasons I think some stuff, really good stuff, has come out because it is, and I mean, I don't know why it ends up being this way. I think maybe because we're a group of kind of creative people, but it seems to be big ideas, short amount of time. And so if you've got a big idea, you've got to fit that through you've got to, like, I'm trying to think of an analogy. I can't think of it, but there's something about the necessity of getting it done within a week. This thing that you've got this kind of great kind of big idea that you could talk yourself out of writing easily. Like I could have easily told myself, I can't write a script about data aggregation. I don't know anything about it. I know the bare minimum about it. How could I write about it? But I already decided I'm doing it, so I've got to write it. And it's, for me personally, it's been amazing. I've never written anything before doing these. And yeah, I think there's something to that. Like really going balls to the wall in a tiny amount of time. And being actors, we want it to be good, because we have to perform it. And so that need to be good probably has something to do with it as well. So it's really been great, like getting any type of I can't out of my brain. Well, it's not that I can't, it's I'm gonna. So then I do it. And yeah, that's what I've experienced with this.
That's great, man. I've been kind of blown away by these, particularly tonight's new iteration. And I'm gonna have, we'll have to give this some thought, like where this goes next. But I agree. I think when the beauty of the 3-2-1 thing is that it is a framework that you have to work within, and then you have this short amount of time. And I have learned, as probably most of you have too, you get done what you need to get done in the time you have. And if you have a deadline, and if you have constraints put on it, you get it done. And is it brilliant? Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't, and sometimes. But the act of doing it, the act of actually saying, "Okay, I got this on Wednesday. We're gonna write a scene and perform it in less than a week," is pretty incredible. My hat is off to all of you. I just think the work's been quite extraordinary.
Were there any disagreements? Let's get candid. Let's get Selling Sunset. Were there any? No, but did anyone disagree? Were there any parts where you creatively had to work through something? Because I think that is, if you're blessed, you never experience that. But if you do write with a team or a partner, you're gonna eventually butt heads. Did anybody have an experience where you had to shift the dialogue to something that wasn't what you envisioned? Wow. Well, everyone's very lucky.
Farrell and
There
Yvette
wasn't
have.
a big disagreement or anything, but it was a lovely process because Emma had made some choices to take things out, and I just said, "Oh, I really kind of liked that," and then she explained it through beautifully, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm on board." So that's just a collaborative nature of co-writing something.
Yvette, you had your hand up, and then Cameron.
It's not that much of a negative, but it's just because we're in a Zoom format and because it's COVID, everyone's schedules are a lot more different than it was before COVID. So just trying to collaborate at the same time or just trying to find different timings is what was the interesting part for because it's always different with every single scene partner. So it's just having the vision be the main thing to lead you no matter what conflict comes up is what really helps.
Yes. Somebody else? Oh, yes, Cameron. Sorry.
I've kind of learned that just personally, I sometimes get like carried away with ideas, and that it's actually nice to have a co-captain in the writing process, because sometimes I need to be reined in, or something doesn't make sense logically, or like if I ever disagree, it's probably because I haven't thought the thing through yet, and I want something to happen that I may not have the steps to. So yeah, it's been really cool having that two heads kind of brainstorm and everything.
Very cool. Yes, Brian Davis.
Like, I don't think of myself as a writer. I'm not self-motivated enough to be that. But this situation, you're given a launching pad, and you're given a partner to whom you're obligated. I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. You're obligated to sit down and do this thing. And like I said, I'm not a self-starter on this. So someone else, but I'm good at reacting to things, or I think I am, at having an idea presented to me, and I'll go, oh, here's something in answer to that. Or my logical brain is good at interpolating things and figuring out how these two threads can meet in a logical way and become a story. But anyway, the point is, long story, not short, is that it's been really good for me to sort of be forced to write stuff. So thank you, Denise and Emma, because it's been a great experience. So thank you.
Great, great, great. Anybody else before we wrap it up?
Well, to that note, real quick, I would posit to everybody who's been a part of this, if like you do something and you get notes and everybody critiques each other, like what if you, cone of silence, cone of truth, how would you critique the experience of the past 4 classes? Good, the bad, the ugly, if, because we're Michael, Kelsey and I are working really hard to like make it better and cater it. And this was Kelsey's sort of, again, I wish you were here to take credit for it, but she championed the idea of, oh, these scenes are so damn good, let's see what we can do taking them forward. But like feedback wise, because we are all in this together, and that is what is unique about our community, is it's not just you pay for a product and you go home. It's like we raise each other up. So I'm interested in that. Good, bad, ugly. What would be different next session if you're continuing on, or next year if that might be your journey, whatever it is.
Anthony.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I would say, I don't know. I've loved the variation between self-taping and then doing scenes. I think it's fantastic. And then I think also this thing, and please forward it to Kelsey for me, but having this idea, it was something I think with continuing on the scenes, it actually, I have to say for me, made it more engaging as a viewer, because particularly if I was watching a scene that watching like Tishnell and Weber's scene, for me was like, oh, I'm connected to that. Do you know what I mean? I'm connected to that in some way. And so I get to kind of, and in a weird way, it almost informs, for me, I'm like, oh, I get to watch that. And as I'm watching it, I'm watching Brian do his work, and I'm like, you fucking piece of shit. It's totally informing the work that I was going to go on to do. And that was really interesting, particularly given the fact that we're having to work virtually, and I think that I have to say, I think there's something there, if there's a way to keep moving forward with that. I think it's a really valuable format in terms of the scene work, and the self-tapes are just great for extras. I mean, they're just great to do. So yeah.
That's great. Thank you, Anthony. I think we're all going to be thinking about this. Tonight was kind of a revelation in that regard. But anybody else? I mean, John and Kelsey and I talk at least a couple times a week extensively about like what we want to do, what we think is useful. And so it's always good to find out. And if for some reason it isn't, you must know that you have the authority and the agency to always bring that up to us. You know, this is really for you. I want this to be useful. I want it to be mentoring. I want it to be something that builds your confidence, because that is the key in many respects. And I've been so impressed with all of it. Been really good. But to John's question, anybody else have reactions to that they want to share? If not, it's fine. Yes, Cameron.
I think it's really, truly unique. I just in my spare time, like sometimes browsed like some other scene work from other studios or what have you. And just cause I'm just curious, but like, I think like, especially with the format and allowing each of us to play in the reality of being on a Zoom call, like giving us the place to like, cause who knows? We don't know how the landscape's going to change and what like gets made, and solving the problems for Zoom scenes. Like, I don't know. I think there's something about being in this space and also having that be part of the circumstance and the stretching of those, the stretching of that palette that's been extraordinarily helpful and so needed in this period where we're all reaching out for creative and artistic nurturing, really. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oh yeah, Brian Tishnell.
This is just something that, I mean, this is tiny, but I just, during the self-tapes, the only thing that I thought that could be helpful, just using resources of people that we have in the community. The one thing I was missing or thought maybe could offer up some help are like people like Emma and Emma Johnson and Donson. What's her last name? Johnson? Emma Johnson? Yeah.
Johnson.
Johnson, not
Johnson.
Johnson.
With a D.
With a D, not a J. And then our Zara, just have a little bit of insight from people who work in casting. Just because I think there is a small question mark on some of the like very, very technical things. I don't know if that's possible at all or not, or if they could even add anything, but it's a thought I had a couple weeks ago.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up, because I was thinking today, you know, the last time I communicated with April Webster, who did that great evening with us, she said, send me some of the work. I want to see it, which I haven't really done. I mean, you know, it's COVID, like all of a sudden 3 months goes by. But I think I could do that. I know I could do that with April. And I think that might be worth doing. If for no other reason than she sees some wonderful actors she may or may not know. But I take your point that, you know, look, people are, I think in the world of the self-tape, which is very fluid, and you talk to different people, you get different perspectives. I think you just have to, I sent you all, I think, this crazy self-tape, this kid who had to be the unenthusiastic guy who was running a escape room. So the coda to that story is, it was my idea that he should, if you saw it, she should have the flashlight under his head. I just think it looked ridiculous and it was funny. And they fucking loved that. They loved that. His managers loved it. The casting loved it. Then he comes back to me and says they wanted me to do it again. They wanted to be wildly enthusiastic. So to your question, Brian, I mean, that was a 2-page audition, and I said, let's just do something fun with this. Let's find a way to stand out, which I think we did. And I think we don't fully know, but I think I can say this for sure. The quality of the self-tapes has gotten, and John, I'd like you to speak to this, but I think it's gotten better and better and better the more we're doing them. And the quality has been quite good, I think. What do I know?
I've got a buddy who casts in Atlanta, And even there, I mean, in I'm not passing a value judgment. I'm saying factually, they think COVID might be a different thing than some of us who have been wearing masks and socially distancing. But he said, look, it's become the actor is no longer the actor. The actor is a director, a cinematographer, a wardrobe designer, a prop person, and an actor. Like we get tapes that are against a blue backdrop and they might be amazing, but we get tapes where, you know, if you're a homeless person, someone goes and films it on the street corner. A year ago, we don't watch those tapes. They're gimmicky. Now they surprise us. They're great because everybody who was called into the room is now also having to do a tape. So everything's been compressed. So I agree with you, Titch. Like I would love to hear from people who are not on the creative side of things, but I do think we are in an era of chaos in the Wild West, but where there is chaos, there's opportunity. And, you know, does anyone know Alexander Winter? He's long gone, so I don't feel bad telling a story about him. Yeah, there you go.
Sure.
He had a self-tape audition that he came to me for he's like, oh man, it's a big break. It's a big break for me, and we got a coach on it. Okay. It's 3 lines for Glow on Netflix. And his character was Flabby Ring Boy. He was literally a flabby ring boy. It said a pale, tall, white guy holding a ring sign. That's it. And he has 3 lines. He was so freaked out about it. And I said, just take your clothes off. He said, what do you mean take my clothes off? I said, what does it say? He's wearing neon shorts and he's holding a big sign. We went to CVS. We got a sign. We made the sign. Put him in his underwear. He did it. It's the best acting I've ever seen because he was the flabby ring boy. What did it say on the audition thing? No props. What happened? He got a call back. He didn't get it, but that's all you can do. All you can do is take a swing at bat and do the best you can. And if the worst thing you can do, I think, is muzzle yourself. That's the worst thing you can do. If you have an instinct, I think you should go for it. And it's like Michael pioneered what I don't even remember when you and I met, Michael, but like 10 years ago, the first time I ever got up, nervous, quaking, shaking on the stage at the Pico Playhouse, I did a monologue and you went, did you do what you wanted to do? And I said, no. And you went, okay, do it again. And that was it. I was sold. That was it. You have to like what you did. You have to like yourself. And if you do that, who gives a shit?
Yeah, and I do think, to your point, John, I do think this is a moving target, the self-tape thing, because there certainly was a time when it was extremely rigid. You have to do it and there are still some places that want it done that way. But I think taking a chance within reason that feels like it, is workable and will be not too far out of the ballpark is absolutely the way to go. Some scripts don't lend themselves to that, and some do. But I agree. I think your friend who said it, now we have to become cinematographers and costumers, and it's true. I mean, it's not. I hate that aspect of it, but it is what it is. We have to deal with that.
Totally not fair, but it's just the reality right now.
Yeah. Before we sign off for the night, just a reminder, there's going to be a rather amazing play reading on Thursday with great people, and I would hope you would sign in if you can. I think I sent the link out. And then the other thing is to just thank you all for an incredible session. Now, some of you are joining us for the last one, some are not, but this has just been a great session, and the work's been great, and the fellowship has been great, and I continue to learn a lot, which is, for an old Jew, that's a good thing. Anyway, any parting words from the rest of you? Otherwise, I'm going to sign off. I'm tired.
Gareth was going to say something. Do you still want to say it?
Gareth, you're so shy up there. So
I really am. Especially when you can see everyone looking at you. But anyways, I was just gonna say, in the vein of the self-tapes having to kind of take on more arts or like more disciplines. That's why I enjoy doing the 3-2-1s, even though I get really nervous having to write it and like come up with something. I think it forces us to like, you know, work at the muscles that make us an artist, and that I appreciate doing them. Because you get to, you know, you're thinking about plot, you're thinking about character and all these different things. Yeah.
The thing that I've always tried to do with the studio work is find an intersection of art and commerce. Commerce is the 3-2-1s. I mean, sorry, commerce is the self-tapes. And art is, in theory, the 3-2-1s. And I think we have to, there are acting studios, I guess, that just work on the commerce side of it. And if you're just a commodity, you will not be an artist. And if you are a commodity, you will have a sell-by date and your freshness date will expire, and you have to do both. We have to do both. I think that's what we're trying to accomplish with the structure of what we're doing. And tonight, honestly, tonight was a revelation for me. I really thought this new thing is pretty great. I'm going to be thinking about that and what we do with it in the future. But Denise had an interesting suggestion, which most of you probably saw in the chat. I was up at 5:30, so I'm going to sign off. I'm pretty beat. I love you guys. Thank you for a great session, and see you down the road either next week or we're going to have a thing on the 24th. We're going to have like a private, like a get together on night before Thanksgiving. All right. Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.